Hello survivors, hi family and friends, this is Roy from Bootsy Sweetheart's Guide to Life and Other Disappointing Experiences with a fun video answering the question, what does this have to do with my garden? Stay with me and you'll see. Well, today I'm featuring two parts to my video. One is to introduce to you, if you don't know what this is, a gimbal. And the second is to give a tour of my garden. When I first got started, the beginning of April, I guess it was. So this is a month and a half old already, the garden, and I'll try to keep you up to date on it. If you've been with me, you know I live on Long Island. Really, it's right outside of New York City by JFK Airport. And what I wanted to impress upon you is no matter how close to the city you are, you can still have at least a little bit of a country feel. So I wanted to introduce my spring garden to you. Some of the challenges are congestion, the noise. The houses are very, very close together. The plots of land for our houses are very small. Most of them are 60-foot frontage by 100 feet back. But even so, you can have a wonderful garden if you take care of it. So let me introduce you to our garden. So our garden isn't really gigantic. It runs the length of the backyard, and the plots of land here are very small. You can see from some of the pictures how close the houses are, but it does us well. And to me, the satisfaction of being able to go out and pick some things for dinner, just so satisfying. It's really very, very special if you haven't done it in a while. Even if you do containers, it's just great. So I don't know how many people have seen this. You know, I'm an old man learning this new trade here, this videography, this new skill. This is a gimbal, and the purpose of a gimbal is to keep the camera, especially your cell phone camera, your mobile phone camera, steady, so that it doesn't shake when you walk. It has a ton of features. This video garden tour was taken with the gimbal. My cell phone was in the gimbal, and I hope you notice that there's not a lot of shaking when I walk. And then at the end, I'll show you my exploration of a tracking system that this gimbal has. This is the Osmo Mobile 2 gimbal. I am having such fun playing with this. I may become, who knows, a spokesperson. No, but anyway. So this is what was used to do my pre-season garden tour. So this is a test of the Osmo Mobile 2 with the mic hooked up to the phone. Let's see how this works. This is our garden. This is the beginnings of our garden. These are Brussels sprouts that we let go to seed. You have to excuse the landscapers, they're always here for somebody. And we let them go to seed, one, because they're beautiful, two, most importantly, they give something for the bees in the spring, so the bees have some pollen. Then we have a cucumber and a tomato plant, cherry tomato planted. Here I put another Brussels sprout for next spring. They do fruit, and we do get some out of our harvest. We have kale in pots, big pots. Please excuse the mess, we're working on it still. We have beans all along the fence line that will climb. These are all climbers. I love beans all summer long. They give us vegetables. Then we try as often as we can to put as many flowers in to attract the bees. So we have roses, and oh, now the oil man is here. We have roses for the neighbor, roses and cucumbers, eggplant and peppers, more beans against the fence, more kale in pots, our favorite vegetables we plant. We put tarp down this year, the weed barrier, to try to eliminate the weeds. We had such a weed problem last year. Here are geraniums. They're supposed to be squirrel repellents. We'll see. Squirrels have eaten most of our harvest last year, so we bought this electronic owl, which does not seem to work well. Not a success. So it's a pretty to look at, but not a success. So here's our geraniums again, some peppers, more eggplant, different kinds of tomatoes. Put me on a desert island with a couple of tomato plants and I'm a happy man. More peppers. Here, this is a Tabasco pepper. It is so hot. It is very hot, but it's beautiful to look at. More kale in the pot. Very small garden. May look big at first. All this will get cleaned up. We're still in the process. But I wanted to show you, besides how beautiful the Brussels sprouts look. You should have seen them when they were, I should have videoed, I didn't get a chance to, when they were in full bloom. But what's interesting is, you may have seen one of my videos where I grew potatoes from old potatoes. Somehow along the line, I forgot to dig up some last year, or I missed one or two. They wintered over, and here they are coming back. So I'm going to just let them be happy there, and we'll have a lot of potatoes. We'll have enough for two meals, maybe three, out of this little bunch. And we always have our herbs. The rosemary managed to winter over even for 2 winters now. Up here on Long Island, they're not supposed to make it through the winter, but we put it in a very protected spot. So hopefully they'll be very, very happy there. It smells beautiful. Even though I have a reduced sense of smell, I can smell the rosemary when I go near the plant. Just beautiful. We have some iris. Love the iris. My grandmother had black iris, which was beautiful. I cut back the grapevine last year. It was just getting too big. It took over everything. And it just surrounds this little trellis so nicely. We have this year, we have going to have a bumper crop of raspberries. It was a Father's Day or birthday gift from our daughter, and the raspberry plant just took off. This was one plant 2 years ago, maybe even less, maybe 3 rather. It's taking off. And then of course we always have our some greens. Okay. Now we're going to have some greens growing with the Swiss chard in pots. And we have our sage that has been wintering in pots, which I'm not sure it's supposed to. And we have our thyme. This year we mixed the parsley. Again, please excuse the mess, we're still working. With basil. so that'll be nice. This is oregano, and this comes back every year. Not going to question it. And here again is another pot of Swiss chard and some mesclun for salad. We have a huge oak tree in our neighbor. Well, we don't have it. It's our neighbor's, and it's over our yard. It's huge. And this time of the year it sheds, I guess these are some sort of seed pod or something. But this just feels like tumbleweed, fills the yard. It's very funny, but it's a little annoying, but it's worth having the tree. I love the tree. We're fortunate in that we have many different kinds of bees. I don't know the species. I don't really know the difference. I don't see things that you would consider to be honeybees, but we do have all kinds of big and little bees. I captured one here on the video, but can't seem to get them. It's very windy today. There's a tropical storm off the coast. Okay, let me see. I think I scared them away. There must have been a half a dozen or more here a minute ago. The other success I've had this year is finally defeating the black spot fungus. You can see I've got some on this climbing rose. Last year at this time, this rose bush would have been almost bare. All the leaves turned yellow like the ones you see a couple of here, and they dropped the leaves all the way. It looked like a skeleton. Well, I discovered neem oil. Finally, I tried all the other commercial fungicides. Neem oil was the only one that seemed to defeat the black spot. I've sprayed like several times though, and it's making the leaves are just beautiful green. You can see where it started, and the neem oil stopped it in its path. Well, I hope the tour was interesting. I'm sitting here 8 weeks later, not quite 8 weeks, 6 weeks later, in a lush, young garden. No fruiting as yet, no harvest as yet. Well, a couple of radishes. And I'll keep you up to date on how this garden is coming. But in the meantime, I want to show you something that I've been playing with my mobile gimbal. There are a lot of gimbals out on the market. So if you do a lot of videoing and you don't like the camera shaking when you walk, I'd suggest looking into some gimbals. Not Macy's. Oh, there I aged myself. But a gimbal, Gimbal. What's spectacular about this, for me, is since I do this all by myself, can you tell it's so polished that I can't move the camera with me, but I'm learning how to use the gimbal tracking system. See what it can do. So this is a test of the Osmo Mobile 2 gimbal on a tracking. I've outlined my face with the tracking application, and what's really interesting, as I trip over something, it has to keep my face in the target box in order to work properly. But I can move around and actually show you some of the panorama just by making sure that my face stays in the frame, and go from underneath our rosebud tree, beautiful, to our hydrangea. I don't know how good the sound is, but I can walk up close and it stays with me. And then I can move over to the, oop, it lost me, 1 second. It found me again. Oop, keeps losing me. I have to move kind of slowly because it's a little sensitive. Let me get back into the frame. It's searching, it's searching, it's searching, and it can't find me. Let's see if I can reframe myself. There we go. And now I can walk to another side of the yard. The pink in the back is some netting that we're putting over the zucchini to keep the, what do they call them, the vine borer moths off of it so they can't lay their eggs. And then I can go all the way almost 180 degrees. Now if I go behind this pole, it's going to lose me. Well, I think it's reached its maximum radius anyway. Isn't this interesting? Things I'm learning. I'm going to try in a little while to wear a funny hat and see if that helps. Now this is no longer being made. I should have worn a hat anyway. Look at this mess. Ugh. Isolation. This model is not being made any longer because they've come out with a new one, and absolutely worth the money to me for this. This was a gift. Wasn't I lucky? I love this. You see how it follows me? So, I think it's, but you gotta watch where you walk or you'll trip and fall. So, one trial. How was that? I think it was worth it. Ooh, mosquitoes. Oh my goodness. Terrible mosquitoes. Well, I hope you had some fun and maybe learned a little bit about technology. I'm learning a lot. And I hope you enjoyed my little garden tour. There's nothing more special than going out into the garden in season and picking tomatoes and peppers and beans and things that you can use for your dinner that evening. I'm going to do a follow-up probably in a week and a half, 2 weeks, on how far the garden has come. This is going to be a good year. Thank you very much. If you like what you see, please subscribe, please share, give a thumbs up, but most of all, be safe, be smart, be healthy, and bye for now.